In today's video, 6 ways coaches can support their teachers during remote learning. Hello, coaches! Welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Friday. My name is Kim, and I am the premium mentor for the Coach Microcredential from Eduro Learning, and I've been really fortunate to be doing remote coaching for the last 5 years. I've been working with coaches and teachers and school leaders all around the world in virtual settings, right from here in my home. So today I'm going to share 6 ways that coaches can support their teachers, their colleagues through this remote learning experience. From my own experience and also from some other amazing coaches all around the Asia region that have volunteered to share a little bit of their experience right here in this video. Before I get started sharing the 6 ways that coaches can support teachers during remote learning, I did want to share one thing that really isn't directly related to coaching, but I think it's really important to consider. This time that we're in right now is super stressful and very confusing and isolating and uncertain. So as coaches, one of the number one things we can do that might not be like a tangible thing is to be that caring person that reaches out to the teachers within our scope. The person that asks about how they're feeling, how they're coping, and how they're managing with all the different aspects of this new work environment. So being that supportive person to reach out to might just be enough in terms of being a coach during this time. So kind of frame the whole thing thinking about what makes the most sense for your teachers. And I think if you really want to dig further than that and you think your teachers are ready and you want to support them in the way that you might normally would within kind of a school-based setting, a face-to-face setting, you might also want to consider gathering some data about what teachers actually need. Because even though we as coaches are really passionate about continuing our coaching, even in this remote setting, it might be possible that teachers are not looking for that right now. And so if there's ways that you can find out what they actually need so that you're not overwhelming them with more opportunities that they're not ready for, that's also a really nice way to consider the stress and extensive strain of the situation that we're in right now. All right, here we go. 6 ways that coaches can support teachers during remote learning, and each one of these ways is going to feature one of those fabulous educators. So as I go, I will introduce that a little bit and then let them share their way that they're supporting teachers in their schools right now. The first way that coaches can support teachers during remote learning is to inspire and share, to take time to consolidate and review great learning that's happening in this remote learning setting and share with your colleagues. And now I'm going to let GBenedict from Shanghai American School in China share how he's doing digital learning walks with his teachers from all the way in Texas, and they're spread all over the globe.
Hi, my name is Jordan. I'm a instructional coach and data coach at Shanghai American School. Welcome to my temporary office. One of the projects we've taken on, besides just supporting teachers digitally and facilitating online meetings, has been to showcase and celebrate teacher work. So the idea we came up with was to take the idea of a learning walk and transfer that to digital learning walks. And you can see that those playing up here, inviting people in our weekly memo to come on a digital learning walk with us. So here's a quick clip. This time, we're going to be looking at assessment. And students made climate graphs, looked at weather patterns.
Gilmore climate of Lucerne is cool and the city experiences regular precipitation.
One of the things they said was authentic assessments, especially in blended and online learning contexts, encourage students to take a deep approach to learning. These videos are really fun to create, to see the awesome teaching that's going on even in this different environment. I'm able to be kind of a data coach still, an instructional coach, a resource provider. And I know people have appreciated being celebrated and how their work's being validated by the research and the articles that are out there.
The second way coaches can support teachers during remote learning is to be a thought partner. It is super easy to have remote coaching conversations the same way teachers are teaching their actual students. It's something I do on a regular basis through the Coach Microcredential, as well as our private mentoring program. You just have a conversation kind of like we're doing here using a tool like Zoom or Google Hangouts, and you have your coaching conversation the same way you would face-to-face. And to kind of highlight this, I have a video from Amy Garrett, who's at Hong Kong International School in Hong Kong, and she's going to talk about how she's personalizing coaching. If that's something that's interesting to you, I want to make sure that you know that we also have a coaching journal template that I personally use when I am coaching in a remote setting. So feel free to take that template and adapt it however you see fit. I will leave a link in the description below. And here's Amy.
All right. What a time to be a coach. This has been a really incredible roller coaster. It's been the most challenging, rewarding 8 weeks probably of my career. Some of the ways that I've been coaching my teachers have had to just be really responsive. There's no one size shape fits all model when you're coaching, and especially in a situation like we're currently facing. So I've done everything from triaging and helping with the 911 calls when things are not working and they need to learn new platforms. I've made endless screencasts and tutorials to help individual and collective requests. I've worked closely with administrators. I've developed policies and communication and helped push those out. It's really just been a really eclectic experience, but I will say at the heart of all of it has been some really amazing core coaching going on. And so the relationships I've been able to develop and the time that I've spent working with individuals and teams has been extremely rewarding. And so in the midst of as crazy as this all feels in the whole world, I will say there's no better time and place than now to be a coach.
The third way coaches can support teachers during remote learning is to keep learning. The skills and tools that teachers need at the beginning of a remote learning experience will evolve very quickly over time. So providing virtual professional learning in real time or via tutorials or screencasts customized to your school's needs at that moment is going to be really essential. Because the situation is so fluid, things will continue to change over time, and as coaches, we need to adapt to that. One school that is doing an amazing job of this is Keystone Academy in Beijing, China. And I'm going to let Sandra Chow share the amazing things that she's doing with her teachers in Beijing to help keep that professional learning going.
Hi there, my name is Sandra Chow, and I'm the Director of Innovation and Digital Learning here at Keystone Academy in Beijing. Thinking about professional learning? Well, there's a lot of things to think about. It might feel very daunting and like whack-a-mole, but the main recommendations I have for you is start with your core communication and learning systems. The things like your LMS, your email, make sure everybody knows how to use that so that they can get out of that firefighting stage and know that they can just send out lessons and talk to their students and communicate and collaborate with each other. Once they're out of that, you're going to start bringing in new digital tools, and you'll have to be selective. Make sure you're choosing the tools that are really necessary for your teachers so they don't feel overwhelmed. Otherwise, it might be daunting for them. As you bring in new tools, you're also going to have to look at good teaching practices. What does good learning and teaching look like on an online learning environment? And a lot of teachers don't know that. They're used to the classroom. They don't know online learning. So start talking about what assessment and feedback and visible thinking routines look like in an online learning environment. And then finally, but not the least, is social emotional health. How can you help your teachers to know how to care for their students and how to care for themselves? This is stressful. Online learning is challenging. And if you need to bring in counselors, it's a great idea to bring in experts to help your staff and your students and even your parents to know that they are healthy and well.
The fourth way coaches can support teachers during remote learning is to curate resources with the mindset that you want to curate, not inundate. So maybe it's tips and strategies for remote learning, or maybe it's content-based, but curating those resources for your teachers so they don't have to look too hard to find what they need can be really helpful. And I'm going to let Tim Bray from Changdong Dalton School in Korea share the ways that he's doing that for his teachers.
Doing a lot of compiling of resources, especially because a lot of companies provided free accounts or free access to their content or their platform. And so kind of getting those assembled and getting passwords out to people and those kind of things, telling them how to set up their accounts.
The fifth way that coaches can support teachers during remote learning is to help them create experiences for their students to make that virtual learning come to life. And I'm going to let Panna Asavavatana from Taipei American School in Taiwan share the ways that she's doing that with her teachers.
One thing that I'm trying to do now with my teams and my teachers is to open up discussions about and or create contingency plans for learning that is coming up for the rest of this school year. Because we are back in session, we expect to return to school after spring break, but all of that could be thrown back up in the air by another closure. So we have been talking about how things could look different if we had to do them in a virtual or remote learning environment. One thing that we've done is set up what a kindergarten field trip supposed to be going to the zoo is going to look like in a virtual setting at school and what it might look like at home. And we are using live cams in zoos around the world that work with our time zone and creating a virtual field trip that way.
The sixth way that coaches can support teachers during remote learning is just for me, and the idea is to give the gift of time, to take something off the plate of a teacher or a school leader to demonstrate that you are prioritizing and valuing their time and their need for self-care as well. It might just be that a teacher needs a break in the middle of the day and you can come in and substitute for their class for them for 20 minutes or something. Anything you can do to help them take care of their own personal wellness. If you have time in your schedule, that's an opportunity you have to support the teachers that you're working with. All right, those were 6 ways that coaches can support teachers during remote learning, all framed within the context that we need to be really mindful that this whole situation is super overwhelming and we need to prioritize the wellness of all of the people that we're working with, from parents to students to teachers. The 6 ways were to inspire and share, to be a thought partner, to keep learning, to curate resources, and to create experiences, and then to give the gift of time. Hopefully that's helpful for you, and we'd love to hear the ways that you are supporting teachers during remote learning. So if you have a strategy or a tip you'd like to share, please drop it in the comments below. And if you have a question about what you might be able to do to help support teachers during remote learning, please drop that in the comments below as well. At Eduro, we have been humbled to have had educators from around the world join us in panel conversations and respond to our emergency school closures resources. We want to continue to support you. We know how challenging it is to be an educator right now. We know that school leaders and coaches are looking for ways to keep their community inspired and to relentlessly build community. That's why we've made our online course, Your Connected Classroom, free for you and your peers right now. You can find the link in the description box below. We have been creating community virtually for over a decade now through our Coattail program and through the Coach Microcredential. It's something we know inside and out, and we want to support you through this difficult time. Follow us at Eduro Learning or subscribe to the Coach Better podcast to continue this conversation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.